Hello, hello, hello. Hi and welcome. It's Josie here coming on live in Stop People Pleasing and Perfectionism for Good. It's our webinar. It's our live training. Welcome. Come on in. If you can read me, if you're hearing me, come on in, drop a comment, say hello, and we'll get started shortly. I'm so excited that you're here. This is my first webinar for 2022, and I'm really excited to be coming on live and be sharing some really juicy training with you today. Today, you are going to win because you're going to learn so much about these reactive tendencies that affect so many of us. So many of us who I think have great people skills but hold ourselves back in other ways. You are here to learn how to stop people pleasing and stop harboring perfectionism. It's primarily for women leaders, for women who are managers, directors, upper level management, but so many suffer from this. I'm going to teach you how to learn how to grow the leader within, and so we can lead ourselves first. All right, as we're leading in, let me give you a little bit of an outline for what this is all about. You, right now, are inside a Facebook pop-up group, which means it's only used temporarily for a workshop like this, and then it's archived. I do have several temporary workshops like this, so you may have seen one before. It's an area for us to come in a safe, private place, really enjoy some training, but the replay will only be posted for a short period of time through the weekend, and then it comes on down. I'll also send you a link to the training via email too, if you're on the email list. It'll take us about 45 minutes or 50 minutes. It's interactive. I think the more that you get out of this is by being participatory, by joining in, I can't see you or hear you. This is a one-way broadcast, but we can be connected through comments. And so every now and then I'll post a question or I'll ask you how things impact you, and I'd love to see your response. It's also a wonderful way for us to be connected to a wider network, to the sisterhood, to other women who suffer from similar experiences that we think maybe we only suffer alone. And it feels really reassuring and so it's so encouraging to know that we're not the only ones that suffer from these things. So if you're here, come on in and say hi. I'd love to see a comment and know that we're ready to get rolling. All right, how are you going to win today? I'm going to show you 4 ways that you're going to win today. You ready? You win because you're going to understand exactly what is holding you back and why when it comes to people pleasing or perfectionism. I'm going to teach you the solution to both. While they might seem like they're very different syndromes, they share a lot in common. We're going to learn the process for how we can unravel these things that have a hold on us and see the result of what it's like to be on the other side. Sometimes it feels very daunting to think that we're going to have to do something challenging, like change our whole personality, which this is not about. But when you see the results that are possible, it'll be even more encouraging for you to engage in this type of interactive material. Are you ready? Okay, a little bit about me first before we get started. If you haven't met me before, I am a leadership coach and a facilitator. I have worked for over 30 years. Yes, that's a long time. In hiring and training people into leadership positions, specifically women, and then coaching and mentoring them to success. I love to coach who I like to call strong and sensitive women. Yes, you can be both, especially in leadership positions, women who are managers, directors, VPs, and it's not just corporate. I have lots of women that I work with that are in the nonprofit sector, executive directors, academics, professors, principals, researchers, analysts, business owners, women who are out there doing great things. And here's what I find is a common thread. There are so many women out there who are really good with their people skills, but they hold themselves back in other ways. Is this you? You might suffer from self-doubt despite obvious achievements, second-guessing yourself, diminishing your skills, thinking they're not important or essential, lacking some self-belief. Even if you appear to be confident, even if in some realms you are confident, you might harbor some secret thoughts that you're not actually all that. Some of the women in my network used to feel more confident than they do now. It's almost like over time and as they age, they feel less confident. I have lots of women who compensate by being over planners, over strivers, achievers, and exhausted multitaskers. If that resonates for you, give me a heck yeah. I'd love to see how this shows up for you. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Amy. Nice to see you. Come on in and say hi. Come on in and share with us. It's lovely to have you. So my jam is I go into corporate settings and I teach workshops to help elevate people's leadership, up level their skills. Now it's more of a virtual experience. If my superpower is teaching and coaching and facilitating and raising people up, my high octane fuel is connection. So I come on live periodically to do short trainings like this, and sometimes I will be so delighted to meet women who want to go deeper with this type of work and actually end up joining one of my programs, which I can explain at the end. So this can just be a way for you to get to know me, for me to connect with you, for you to understand my style and my program. What's up, Cindy? Nice to see you. All right, so let's do it. Let's dive in. Are you ready? We're talking about people pleasing and perfectionism. These are strategies that we have adopted to become very high performing, high achieving, successful women in our lives. Sometimes we have heaps of success because we have heaps of people pleasing and heaps of perfectionism. These two tendencies, we might feel like they're negative and we're downplaying their our desire for them in our lives, but they have both been pathways to our success. It's just that when taken too far, they become a detriment. So I'm going to explain what they are and the cost to you for keeping these in place, and then how to loosen their hold on you. I'm going to give you tactical tips for how to handle them. Are you ready? Keep coming. All right, here it is. This is a big sentence. I'm going to define it for you. What people pleasing and perfectionism both have in common. Are you ready? They are both self-limiting tendencies that reflect inner beliefs and assumptions that limit our effectiveness, limit our authentic expression, and limit our ability to be an empowered leader in our lives in the world. It's a big mouthful. It's what we call a reactive tendency, which is a pattern of unconscious behavior. It's like a default action plan that is our operating system. Does that make sense to you? Let's take it a little bit deeper. I'll explain people pleasing and perfectionism. Just big overview. People pleasing, this reactive tendency, this operating structure that we've got in place, it is about being compliant. It's about being easygoing, people oriented. It's being receptive to others, caring what other people think. It's also about seeking harmony, getting to collaborative compromise. The people pleasers of the world actually have great social skills. Is that you? Raise your hand if that's you. Say, yep, that's me. But you know that if you take this too far, it drains you. On the other side, perfectionism is a reactive tendency that you've adopted and adapted to help you achieve. Someone who has a strong work ethic, somebody who cares about performance, cares about excellence. Perfectionism can help you progress in your schoolwork, in your career. It can fuel you to rise up, but taken too far, it drains you too. This is what they both have in common. Both of them are these archetypes that we've adopted and adapted within to make good in the world, to connect with others, to achieve, to succeed, to make our way, to have a positive reputation. But they become almost these masks that we wear that are not the real me, not the real you, and they drain us because it's not authentic. Hey, Deanna, she says, yep, totally me. Come on in, say hi. It's lovely to see people joining. All right, so while we're getting into it, I'll tell you a little bit of a story about how these things affected me. Not so long ago, I was promoted to the highest levels in my company, and I felt the burden of responsibility. I was excited and terrified to be promoted to such a high level and have so much positional power and authority and responsibility. And so this translated, because I'm both a people pleaser and a perfectionist, to me being restless all night long till I'm wide awake at 4:30 in the morning without an alarm, going straight into the computer room, still wearing my fuzzy socks, and opening my laptop and starting to whack through email. It was almost like a sickness. It was something I couldn't rest. I had this whirling and swirling desire to get up and make things happen because I felt like I had to. I had a reputation. I needed to provide excellence. I felt like what I did mattered. My performance was everything. And I actually got attached to the burden of that responsibility. I almost started to like it. This is where being overwhelmed is sort of like a badge of honor. Like when we multitask and our hair's on fire, we almost feel like that's something we can be proud of. My ego and my identity of being important became attached to how I did my life. Like literally, it was not lost on me that when I was sending email in the wee hours of the morning, somebody somewhere was noticing the timestamp and thinking like, "Oh, she's up early." I mean, true honesty, right? It made me feel important. It made me feel like I was, showing up in a big girl way. It made me feel like I was, you know, fulfilling the promise of responsibility and expectation that my company was giving me. But over time, it empties you out. I was like whirling and swirling, like all the spinning plates, but all the things that I was doing, all of the actions I was taking, disconnected me from the real, true me inside. I was racing, I was always doing, but to what finish line? Can you relate to that when you're that busy, when you're that stressed, when you're that kind of burdened and overwhelmed? It's like you're scurrying and hurrying all the time. It's disorienting. You're like disconnected from your true self, and it's unfulfilling and it's unconnected. Hi, Anandi. Nice to see you. Yes, sometimes she says, is it like I'm better than others? I think perfectionism does feed this idea that we are sort of special. We behave in ways that society tells us we are special. And we buy into that, and it makes sense to us, and it gives us a sense of identity. So, yes, this is about our beliefs. We start to believe that we need to do more, be more prepared. We tell ourselves this story of struggle, and it's supported everywhere, right? It's supported in society, it's supported in the workplace, it's supported in academia, that the more we strive and struggle, the more successful we are. It's like it's not supposed to be easy. It's like it's good if it's hard. And it leads to us shouldering all this responsibility, becoming overwhelmed, having an overflowing inbox. I've written about this recently. Tote bags full of paper that we think is information that keeps us smart and safe. Just clutter, clutter everywhere, burden. All right, so let's see some comments here. How does that impact you? Hey Lucy, she says, people pleaser and perfectionist. It's totally me. And thinking about work all night, definitely. It's so nice to hear your experience. And oh, you are important. We all are. Nice to hear from you, Lucy. So, a lot of how this happens to us, how we end up kind of adopting these really dysfunctional behaviors, is that we receive more responsibility. You're really good at being you. You're good at doing your job. You're good at performing. You're good at connecting. And so you get more responsibility. You get busier. You get leveled up. You get promoted. But what happens is that responsibility is not met with an increase in your skill development to handle that responsibility. And so many women just think, well, I've got double the work. I've got to do it in the same amount of time. Burden shows up. How does it show up for you? I want to read to you. When I open up these groups and I open the members area, I ask, how do these tendencies show up for you? And I've got some amazing comments I'm going to read to you from the screen right now. Some of the women who are in this group says, being a people pleaser or a perfectionist does this, causes added stress and anxiety to an already type A person. That makes sense. It has me second guess myself and difficulty boundary setting. It limits my effectiveness when dealing with conflict. It limits my confidence about my ability to accomplish tasks and impacts my self-efficacy and completion of tasks. Very well said. 100%. I think we can all relate to that. Another woman said, it has me not being heard, right? Like if we're stifling our own voice, if we're shape shifting to fit in with others, we make ourselves silent. And then people don't hear from us. Here's one. A woman wrote in, I've always been a perfectionist since my early 20s, and I'm in my mid 60s now. I wear myself out with it. I'm glad you're here. And even though I've said that this is primarily for women in management, women leaders who are directors, managers, C-suite, this woman wrote in that she's retired and a housewife. And she said, when I sew or quilt, I never feel like it's perfect enough. There is always a mistake in the work. And when she answered the question, what might it be possible for you if you drop these tendencies for good? She said, maybe I would like what I've made more. I might even enjoy sewing time. Can you feel that with her? That even our recreational pursuits can be infused with this toxicity to do better, to be perfect, to somehow be flawless? Really hard. Deanna says, look at email from dawn to dusk. That's how it shows up for you. Anandi says, I'm afraid to say no. Lucy says, yes, you feel it too. So these things, these these operating systems that we've adopted, they keep us limited. They help us succeed, but they keep us limited because they steal our joy. True? I'm going to take you even deeper. I'm going to take you now to describe each one in detail and what the inner dialogue says and the cost to you. You ready? We're going to do people pleasing first. People pleasers, definition, complying. It's going along to get along. The whole definition of people pleasing is getting our self-worth and security by complying with expectations of others rather than acting on what you intend and want. I'll say that again. It's getting our self-worth and security by complying with the expectations of others rather than acting on what you intend and what you want. It's seeking support and approval in order to feel secure and worthwhile. Has a strong need for approval, for the gold star, for the thumbs up. We base our self-worth on our ability to gain others' favor and confirmation. This is where getting a high grade matters. A pat on the head, a compliment. We may see ourselves at the mercy of external circumstances that are beyond our control, so we submit our power to others. There can be an element of passivity to people pleasers because people pleasers can just go along to get along. They can just make things easy for everyone by adopting whatever is the way leadership is taking us. People pleasers can also be prone to belonging, and I'm not talking about that beautiful Brene Brown style of belonging. I'm talking about conforming, like conforming to others' needs, being what other people, we think other people want us to be. Looking to meet the expectations of those in authority rather than self-determining what is right for us. I like to say going along to get along. Just hate bothering people, like just want to be easygoing. It's like compressing the full extent of your creative power into something more small and easy for people to approach or digest. It's like not wanting to stick out, not wanting to be um, confronting in any way. I sometimes say people pleasers are the great shapeshifters, like sort of lacking backbone. We can kind of be a chameleon in whatever situation we're in to help make things go easier. It also can have this vanity piece that people pleasing can take hold of how we want to look or fit in. If you think about like a teenage girl wanting to look like all her friends and they dress the same, that's sort of people pleasing in a very immature way of wanting to adopt and adapt the culture to fit in. People pleasing can also be very passive, where we give our power away to others outside of our control. It can also be a little subversive, where we do things our own way and don't follow the rules. It's kind of surprising about people pleasing, but it's very quiet. People pleasing in passivity can have us feeling like our efforts just don't even make a difference, so why bother? Kind of like this universal shoulder shrug. Like we lack power to control our own future, so why bother? So when we're really passively people pleasing, it's like we're opting out, we're fading out, we're being quiet, we're leaning out, we're not being the leaders that we can be. All right, that was a lot. Does that sound like you? Nandi's like, oh my God, Laura, that's me. Laura, what if you don't know what you intend or want? Well, then that's part of your leadership journey too. Okay, let's go into a deeper dive. People pleasing, the inner narrative has an internal dialogue, and it sounds like I'm okay if people like me. I'm worthy if others approve of me. I need to live up to others' expectations to succeed. I can stay safe by supporting others, and I like being supportive. And above all, loyalty, harmony, and going along to get along protect me from disapproval. And the cost of all of this is that you never truly feel worthy. Is that you? Amy says, scary accurate. I tend to focus on the negative connotation of these attributes, but it's nice to hear that they're also have served me to be successful. Yeah, we're going to get into that some more. I have a secret for you. I have a little bit of a surprise at the end. All right, so that was people pleasing, defining it and how it costs you, how it appears in your life. Let's now go over to perfectionism. The definition of perfectionism is all about control. If people pleasing is complying, perfectionism is controlling. We establish our personal worth through task accomplishment and personal achievement. Perfectionism is about attaining flawless results and performing to extremely high standards in order to feel secure and worthwhile. Our worth and security is equated with being perfect, with performing heroically and succeeding beyond all expectations. Whoa, that's exhausting just to think about. Perfectionists can also be very much prone to being driven, to being sort of in overdrive all the time, accomplishing a great deal via hard work, striving, struggling, grinding it out, outperforming themselves day after day, having an incredibly high work ethic, maybe too high of a work ethic, like an unbalanced work ethic, being workaholic. Perfectionists can also be prone to be very self-critical, never satisfied, that our performance almost becomes a function of self-hate, self-criticism. Like we do something and then we just see everything that's wrong with it. Like our quilter friend who said she only sees the errors. That self-criticism can lead to procrastination because we're afraid to fail, so we don't even start. If we're not going to make it perfectly perfect, then why do we do it at all? That leads to procrastination. And it can really lead to sort of this obsessive self-analysis where we just kind of get into overthinking things and really overjudging things, mostly ourselves. Amy's like, that sounds exactly like me. Sending so much love to you while we're talking about all this stuff. It sounds really heavy. There's a light side coming. Perfectionists can be critical of others too. Like having incredibly high standards for yourself means that you hold high standards for others too. And you can be kind of dictatorial, not a collaborator, like telling people, not asking, right? Not collaborating, not compromising, not delegating, because you think that you know best and it can be done best by you and you want it to be the best. The vanity in a perfectionist is sort of this idea that we're a special snowflake, that no one else really gets us, no one else can do it like us, that we're really the only one, that we have something special, which is lovely. It's true, but it's not helpful. If we have an inner narrator, a narrative that goes on in our mind, it sounds like results are everything. Appearances matter. I want to appear extremely competent and confident and put together. Can't make a mistake. Anything less than perfect is not okay. I can't delegate. We already talked about that. I'll do it only I can do it right. I do it better. It's faster. I'm valuable when others look up to me with admiration, and being less than is unacceptable. Like, I need to win. I want to be the best. Failure is not an option. Failure feels like death. The cost of this perfectionism is never feeling good enough. Say I if that's you. I. You can be both. If you're both perfectionistic and people pleasing, you might be trying to be perfectly acceptable by pleasing others, making other people happy. Or you may be using high performance of achievement to win approval. Struggling, striving, proving to get recognition, validation, approval. Does that make sense? Yeah. Dana's like, yes! The cost is we either never feel truly worthy if we're people pleasing, or we never feel really good enough if we're perfectionist. So I think I've done a pretty darn good sales job of naming it and you realizing it has a cost. You realizing you identify with these things. I identify with them. No shame, girls. We're inside here to be better, right? This is what it's all about. But we're going to now learn, how do we shake loose from this thing that's got a grip on us? Here's the training. Are you ready? The issue for both tendencies, whether you're perfectionistic or people pleasing, is the same root cause. Are you ready? It's being authored by others. It means what others think about us is more important than what we think. It is giving away control of our mood, our self-worth, our fulfillment away because it depends on what other people think, not what we think. Does that make sense? It means that our full creative leadership, our full creative expression is limited because it has to make sense to somebody else, not to us. And so there's a solution for both of these. Are you ready? If we're being authored by others, if we're delegating the story of how good we are based on what other people think or say, or what we think they say, what they think of us, the solution is to bring the locus of control back within ourselves. It's like it's like our skeleton is exterior rather than interior. Like, we're getting our sense of security, safety, and strength, our crutch, outside of ourselves. But we need that solid self-support inside so that we know first and always that we are good, that we are smart, that our results are satisfying, regardless of the impressions that we get externally that we think give us that safety. Is that making sense? Right on. Robbie's like, sense, perfect sense. Laura, yes. Cindy, yes. Okay, I've got 5 or 6 tactics for both. You ready? So whether you identify with a people pleaser, perfectionism, or both, here are your tactics. Here's what you're going to do. Number 1, become more self-aware. Recognize when these are fully firing and you're under the spell. Sometimes it's scary to think that, these things are governing us, but it can be easy. We can just say, oh, there it is. It shows up everywhere. Once you start noticing it, you'll see these show up everywhere. When you're taking a photo and you're sucking in your belly, you're like, oh, there's the perfectionist and people pleaser. There she is. Even in these small moments, right? When we think about how we look, or we edit what we're about to send, or we think twice about how we respond to somebody, it is sort of a a socialized modification of ourselves that's coming through a filter, we can notice that. Doesn't mean it's wrong, might mean it's the most appropriate action to take, but just notice, oh, that's a little bit of people pleasing right there. Oh, there's my perfectionist. That's the first thing you want to do is just notice it. If that's all you do all day for a day, that's going to help you become so much more advanced in being able to shake loose from these tendencies that have a grip on us. Second thing, name it to tame it. I love personification. I love making things light and fun. I love us finding an easier way. Rather than this feel like hell, that we're like trapped forever in these tendencies, let's have some fun. Can you name your tendency and personify her? Do you have inside of you a perfect Patty or a nice girl Nancy? My personified harmony seeker is really passive. She just doesn't want anybody to be bothered ever. She wants to just make everything nice. My my inner passive people pleaser is a woman with no face. She has like no identity. She's just nobody. And I just like to think about her almost as a separate character inside of me. If you want, you can claim the name of your inner mean girl, your inner tormentor. Name her in the comments. And then once you can kind of see a little bit more objectively, like number one, right, you're noticing when you're under its spell. Number two, you're naming this version of yourself. The third is finding some better self-talk. Like when it's happening, notice that's when your inner narrator is telling you, it's beating you up, saying you should have done something, you have to do something, you've got to do something, you can't do something. Or you just start confessing, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so tired, oh, I've got so much going on. All of those things, all of the ways that we speak, both, externally and in our inner mind's ear, all of it is a choice, and you can watch that speech and thoughts and reframe it. Is it really true that you have to do that? Is it really true that no one else can help? Is it really true that you have to? All of the things that we tell ourselves. When you become aware of this, you can challenge the thought and say, is there an inner unconscious assumption underneath that statement? Or what am I getting out of that? Back to that story, like when I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and start sending email, my family members would look at me like, are you crazy? Well, the truth is, I was getting something out of it. I was reconfirming the sense that I was important, that I was manifest this important role, that I was burdened. I was getting something out of people seeing me send email at 4:30 in the morning, right? There's a benefit in our behavior that when we're aware of it, then we can kind of call ourselves out on it a little bit. Like, really, is that helpful? Is this really what I want to choose? The fourth thing I like to say is process interrupt. Like when you notice you're really operating under its spell, physically interrupt yourself. Physically shift yourself out of that mode. If you're in this default mode, it's time to get curious. Like, oh, I got to get up. I got to get up from my chair and go for a walk. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to have a drink of water. I need to kind of shake up this hooked behavior that's operating kind of on autopilot. Does that make sense? If you notice that you're so people pleasing at a party and you're just laughing at all these jokes and you're trying to fit in and you're thinking, who is this woman that I'm being? This perfectly, passive Patty that's going along with everyone. I'm going to go outside and shake loose a little bit and find out, remember who I am. The fifth technique that I love, I call life is a lab. What if we're just playing? What if we're just sort of experimenting? What if this is just one big laboratory experiment? And we're not do or die, fail. It's not like our whole reputation teeters on one thing. We're just trying something out. We can test new waters. I like to say this is a way of us, experimenting and tolerating new types of growth. Like, what if you didn't get up at 4:30 in the morning and answer 300 email? What if you deleted it instead? What if you found time instead to learn how to delegate? When you say you don't have time, Find time. This is like pushing on your outer limits, your boundaries of what you think is possible, the story that you're telling yourself, because you're experimenting. You're just trying stuff out. And trust that you're strong enough to do it. You have already handled so much, right? Look at you in your life and all the things, all the spinning plates that you have going, all of the people you serve, all of the responsibilities that you hold. You juggle so much, you can do this too. It's just a different way. It's like undoing your usual default way. What if you tried that? That's a huge concept that needs more time than we have right in this moment. But maybe you can ask yourself a little bit, what if I actually tried being very different in this moment and I was still okay and safe? Another thing I like to talk about is rising above. Like sometimes when we're really stuck and hooked in these old patterns, these ways of being that have worked for us, the image I have is like being on monkey bars, like in the playground where there are rings or there are like ladder-like bars that you grip and you're swinging and you let go of one to reach for another. When we're stuck, when we won't let go to what we think keeps us safe and from falling, right? You're following the metaphor. We stop our momentum, we stop swinging, and we feel like we can't let go because we're just going to fall. It seems scary to be different, to let go of something. But what if you decide, I'm just leaving an old way, an old bar, an old ring, and with momentum, I'm moving through my life to create something new. I'm going to grab a new one. It's a decision to leave the old and try something new. So it's again becoming more aware and conscious of your behavior and making a conscious choice rather than reacting and responding on autopilot. Some of the costs of actually staying the same, right? If you keep holding on to people pleasing or perfectionism, they actually have a negative impact on others around us. Sometimes we think it actually keeps the whole environment safe and functioning well. It keeps our results collectively on track. But consider this. The people pleaser, when they keep making things easy on others, they don't let others take ownership, right? They take all the ownership. They take all the care and concern. And that limits somebody's ability to rise up and become more of an owner themselves. It's sort of impinging on a boundary. If we take ourselves and bring us back into our own bubble, it allows other people to expand. This is how I teach a lot of women to become coaches at work rather than managers, to encourage other people to start thinking for themselves rather than relying on us. Because people pleasers can create a lot of reliance because we just want to help everyone. We want to do all the things for everybody. We are yes men. We're yes women. We're helpful. But when we stop being a people pleaser, we grow other people. Does that make sense? Similarly, perfectionists, when we hold that we hold on to that identity because we think that it actually keeps the results safe, we actually limit our ability to develop others because we won't collaborate with them or grow them. We don't delegate to them. We may just dispatch to them. Or we do it all ourselves and we minimize their contribution because we make ourselves so important. So if you're on this call and you're a leader, you can see how these reactive tendencies have brought us a certain level of loyalty and performance, but it doesn't bring us to the next level of leadership. So when you're on the monkey bars and you're letting go of one and trying a new way and reaching for another, I want you to realize it's not relaxing your standards. It's not becoming low performing. It's not disappointing someone or becoming lazy. That could never be true. It's you finding a way to bring your skeleton back inside. It's you finding a new way of operating that allows for another level for you and for others. Okay, how we doing, ladies? Is your mind blown? Deanna says, it's like you know me. All right, well, I do have a surprise for you, so hang on. But what I want to say for right now is I've just given you a lot. Let's call that the core training for today. A lot's in there. The replay's available so that you can listen to those 6 things again. You can replay it for your friends. You can write things down. You can try some of the tactics. If it deeply resonates with you, and if you feel like, oh my gosh, I need to get busy with learning more about this and I want to grow, next, I'm going to explain my process for how I help high performing women break loose from these habits inside my signature leadership coaching program, the Sisterhood, and the amazing women inside. Because what I believe is that there's this one element, right, of intellectual grasp, of understanding something, to the deeply held belief style of a grasp when you go from not just what you know to who you are. And that's the journey that I'm taking you on. You know what you need to do, but do you know how to be who you want to be? That's where my work as a coach, as a leadership coach for women, where I help women actually become all of this, how to bring this inside your DNA so that you take these teachings and you embed them inside your DNA and in your life. Because you can do that. The 4:30 a.m. Joe that was on email was completely under the spell of certain things that I've shaken loose from. I learned how from my own coach. So I'm going to explain to you what I got going on. I teach complete confidence in a 4-month container in a small intimate group. I call it completely confident leadership. And it's this whole process that takes you from wherever you are, lacking some confidence, feeling self-critical, having some negative thoughts, second guessing yourself, feeling uncertain, sometimes having discomfort with your level of responsibility, and being addicted to external ways of validating, right? Worrying about how others see us. That's how we just get things going, and we're in this habit. I take you from that to knowing yourself, knowing your strengths deeply, letting go of the anxiety and worry of performance because you can just be. And that leads to this beautiful sense of peace and ease and freedom. The women in my program learned how to take on new tasks, how to risk more, how to get into new opportunities and challenges with gusto and courage, because that's what it takes to be somebody new. And I also teach the interpersonal skills to become the leader that others want to follow. The leader who's like, I know what I'm doing, I'm good, I got me, and I got you too. All right, so I have a plan for you. This is what is on. My Completely Confident Leadership Program is complete in that it has 2 halves. That's why I use that term. No one's ever super complete, right? We're never done, but the 2 halves make a whole. And those 2 halves are raising our self-concept and mastering leadership skills blended together. First, it's the self-competence, and then it's the relationship competence to make you an amazing leader. So my whole program is the core curriculum that I've developed in over 30 years of leadership development, teaching women how to become more self-aware, better self-managed, and how to really like on themselves, dropping the negative self-talk, dropping the imposter syndrome, dropping the people-pleasing and perfectionism, so that then they can lead others with real skills and techniques that I teach. Part of this core program is that you have access to all of the lessons in a members area for life. And you're invited into my private group where you get coached weekly by me as you implement these lessons in a small, intimate group. Because sometimes we actually need to verbalize or download or debrief a lesson to really make it ours, right? A big part of this whole program is the Sisterhood, where we celebrate successes together, where we can see that it's working. We can see our trajectory as is measured by our community that holds us. And the whole thing starts with a very special leadership assessment that I am trained to administer, and then debrief with you in a private call that helps us set the tone for the entire course. It shows you your skills, your competencies, your where you tend to fall under stress. And we use that as your own personal compass for the entire course. That's what it is, ladies. I need to tell you how you get in there. We're running out of time. You got to go to joeleader.com/apply, www.joeleader.com/apply. It's my website. It shows the entire course. What happens next is, if this work has deeply resonated with you, if you feel like, yes, this is something that I want, this is something I want more of, I know I need to level up, I want the support and learning to get there, then go to the website, joeleader.com/apply, and you book a call with me there. You'll see a booking link, because I only welcome women in when I meet them one-on-one and make sure they're a good fit for the program and for the community. I want to hear your story. I want to meet in real life on a Zoom call. And I want to see where you are and where you want to be. And then if we decide to enroll you, you get access right away and you start diving in. All right. Are you still with me? Because I have some bonuses for you. This is how it works. Basically, you have lifetime access to all the lessons. You can dive in and look at whatever one that you want first. But each week, we tackle a specific certain lesson with a training and solution and a coaching session to make it yours. We then meet every week like that in a cadence of 4 months' time. Many women find a radical shift happening just after 2 months, but I give us 4 months because I want us to have a spaciousness in that container. And the result is that women graduate feeling empowered, self-assured, confident, self-knowledgeable, appreciative of themselves, with a rock-solid sense of who they are. I guarantee you that when you graduate, you will know who you are, what makes you tick, and you will be able to like it and work with your strengths. I have lots of tactics and techniques that I use that when we are on a call together, if you're curious of the how we get there, I can explain it. It's not brainwashing, but it's kind of a good brainwash. And after we work on the self-concept and all the self-belief and getting you sleeping through the night and getting you feeling comfortable in who you are in your leadership, what you want, then I teach you how to manage others. That's a whole second part of the course, is learning how to confidently manage others, how to handle other people's drama and conflict. And the result is you're an amazing, empowered leader ready for the next level. Many women tell me they double, triple, or even quadruple their confidence in the time that they're with me. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about the bonuses. Just a reminder, you go to joeleader.com/apply. I'd be so delighted to meet you in person. If you book a call with me before Sunday, I am giving a special bonus. You don't even need to know if you're going to sign up yet or not. You book a call with me now, between now and Sunday, and if you enroll, you get this really special bonus. It's a special voice and text messenger app that I give all of my clients access to me, because I realized that though the weekly coaching sessions were very impactful, life happens in between the sessions. So I found this amazing modality where women, you go out there and you lead your life and you have conflict with your boss, or you have a scary presentation about to come, or you have some hiccup or hurdle in your learning. Having voice and text messenger access to me as a coach in your pocket to unlock and unblock and give you support or learning or a reframe in the moment has been a game changer for my clients. So I offer it now as a special bonus for those gals who know they want in and this is for them. If you book a call with me before Sunday, I will give you the voice text messenger access when you join the course. It's an amazing way to grow that intimacy of feeling like you got somebody on your corner. You've got somebody that's backing you up. It's like having a sidekick. So it's a way that I've got you, and it's a way that I can actually coach you even better because I learn what you're really experiencing and the kinds of things that you're experiencing in real time, not just on a group call. Okay, because many women in my community struggle with public speaking as part of their leadership, um, their whole leadership skill set. Twice a year, I offer a special public speaking workshop just for members of my community, and it's happening for this next cohort. So that's a bonus too. If you join, you get the regular curriculum, the weekly group calls, the leadership assessment, and you also get this special private, intimate public speaking workshop where you can level up a really important skill so that you don't feel anxious and nervous and crazy with self-doubt and self-judgment if you're giving a presentation or even raising your hand to speak. I've also found that some women who have been in my group for a period of time, they've graduated into a special alumni group, a group where we do a deep dive on advanced leadership topics and bonus material. I realized it was a benefit to women in my regular curriculum to be able to have access to those women and what they're working on. So another bonus that I'm offering is that you can join the alumni group call every week as well, meaning you can double the number of calls that you join to uplevel your awareness and your leadership skill set. There are really some incredible movers and shakers in that group. So that's a really fun way to invest even further in your own leadership development. Lastly, this cohort is starting in a month, but between now and then, I'm offering free group calls prior to our launch so that you can get your feet wet and get started and enjoy the curriculum, and have an even more spacious experience. Make it 5 months instead of 4. All right. All that is on offer if you go to joleader.com/apply and book a call with me. You can only join the program if I invite you in after we book a call to make sure it's a good fit for you and that it's something that I know I can help you with. That's the integrity that I hold. And it's so much fun for me to actually meet people in my community. Okay, you're probably wondering about the cost, right? When I teach women, when I coach women in this container one-on-one, when I have an executive coaching client, it is not inexpensive. It is an investment, and it's $10,000 for a woman to do a one-on-one with me to get all of this that we're talking about. But of course, I'm not charging that in this container. When you come and join me as a private client of mine, not some corporate client that I've been hired to groom, but you come into my community, it's a quarter of that cost. And you get all of these bonuses too. I think it's the bomb. I love it. And I love the women that are inside. And I love the time that we have together. So I hope that you are thinking about how you can take this work deeper and are ready to invest in yourself in a significant way that's not a significant cost, that can have a real shift in your leadership and your self-confidence to get results that feel like freedom. Nothing better than it. All right, I've been promising you that I had a bonus that I was going to surprise you with, a special announcement, and it's this. I knew that I would be stretched for time. I know that there's more I want to teach you. I'm going to come on live again tomorrow. Same time, same group, same place, same place. Come back tomorrow for a second lesson where I actually want to show you the gifts that you have to bring through your people pleasing and your perfectionism. In case you have felt daunted by holding on to these reactive tendencies that many of us have, there's no judgment, no shame, because there are beautiful gifts that you can work with these tendencies to rise up when you become aware of how you can leverage them for the good. How does that sound? Did you enjoy today? I'd love to see your comments below on what was meaningful for you. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. I also would love to meet you live on a call. So don't forget to go to joeleader.com/apply. You can see the whole program there and you can book a call with me and we can get started on your leadership development in a really personal way. Bye for now.